These are all the Devil May Cry games that we all know and love. Well, we love most of them. But what if I told you that there's even more games than just these? Or hell, some that never even released, never seen the light of day. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of these other Devil May Cry games. So, without further ado, let's get started.
The time has come and so have I. I'll laugh last 'cause you came to die.
I assume that we all know about Devil May Cry Peak of Combat, but would you believe me if I said that there is another Devil May Cry mobile game? That's right, Devil May Cry 4 Refrain, which came out on February 3rd, 2011, and I believe it came out exclusively on iPhones. I couldn't find any information on when the game got delisted, but you are not able to get the game anymore. From what I researched online, the game originally launched with Nero as the only playable character, but then Dante was added in an update. I don't know why he wasn't in the base game to start with, but you know, whatever. Now, there's a couple of interesting things about the game. For starters, this game only had a total of 10 missions, so basically they cut out the whole Dante part. Now, I do believe that when you start the game, you have the choice to pick who you want to play the story as, which is cool because I wish Devil May Cry 4, the console one, and Devil May Cry 5 did this. One cool thing that I actually found was that this game also actually has a Bloody Palace, which is cool. Now I couldn't find any gameplay of the Bloody Palace, so I don't know how it looks like. I'm assuming it's fairly similar to 4 at least, but it's cool that it's in this game. And also something worth noting too, if you pick to play as Dante, you actually get to fight Nero, which is something we never got to do in the actual games. So this is technically the only Devil May Cry game with a Nero boss fight. And the gameplay in here actually looks pretty decent. The animations are good looking. Dante has all these different devil arms. It looks like you can exceed as Nero. You can use guns, which is something another mobile Devil May Cry failed to include. Peak of Combat. And some features for the mobile game seem to have changed too, like for example Royal Guard. It seems that you'll be fine just holding the Royal Guard button to do it in Refrain, as in opposed to Devil May Cry 4 where you have to perfect guard to, you know, get the block, which I guess it's more convenient for mobile because I can't even imagine how hellish it will be to try perfect guard on the phone. And it overall looks like it could be a ton of fun. I never got to play, but from the looks of it, yeah. The story is just a shorter version of Devil May Cry 4, but what is interesting is that if you play through the game as Dante, he has some interesting interactions with other characters like Kratos during his boss fight. The graphics are nothing to write home about, but this is also a mobile game from 2011, so you can't really complain. I really wish I was able to play this somehow today. Like, if anyone knows a way to download this game, please let me know. I would love to try this out for a video. Keeping up the Devil May Cry mobile train, Devil May Cry 3 also had a mobile game, which goes by the name of Devil May Cry 3 3D. I think that's what Google told me. And it was made for the Java phones, which I can't lie, I have never used one before. But anyway, the game originally came out in 2008, and what's interesting is that it actually had two versions. One was a 2D version, which was more of a side-scroller, and the other was a 3D version more similar to DMC3. Now there wasn't as much information I could find on this game as much as I did on Refrain, so I do apologize if I get some stuff wrong. Both versions of the game actually contain 36 missions, which is the most missions in a DMC game. Granted, the missions are way shorter, but still, the 2D version I'd assume is very weird to play, as you have to use a freaking number pad considering you're using this thing to play. And you also really don't have as much options as in Refrain to play, but that's to be expected. You get basic attacks and guns, and then you can also perform other actions like Stinger by doing some weird button combination, bro. I don't know. Like, what is this? Rebellion and Ebony and Ivory are the only weapons you can use, but like, I doubt that weapon switching would work well in a 2D mobile game in which you basically use a keyboard that was glued to the phone to play. You are able to upgrade them though. The mission objectives seem pretty repetitive too. From what I see, it's kill a bunch of demons, get a bunch of orbs, or find a certain item. Unless like the combat system in that game is incredible, which I somehow doubt. But the 3D version has quite a few differences. For one, you can move how you want now, not just left or right. And this version does actually have different weapons, and I think you are able to change them before each mission starts. You also get to choose which gun and style you want to use, and I think you can upgrade them. Now as you can see, this is some top quality Devil May Cry gameplay. Now I can't lie, I didn't find much else about the 3D version. Everything I just said was what I've learned from a small wiki article in a 15-minute gameplay video for this game. And just like Refrain, you can't really harp on the graphics too much. This game came out in 2008, and you know what, I think the 2D version actually looks pretty cool, so yeah. I feel like the Pachinko games will be the most known games in this video, or at least Devil May Cry X The Last Judgment, because that game has an insane OST. There's a total of 6 of these, 3 based off of DMC4, 1 based off of DMC3, and 1 based off of 5. And DMCX, The Last Judgment, which actually also might be based off 4 now that I think about it. All these games are only available in Japan and playable on Pachinko machines. A few of these were ported to mobile, but they have either been unlisted or region locked in Japan. I'm not gonna go over how each and every single one of them plays because I'm like 85% sure they all play relatively similar. I don't know, I've never touched a gambling machine in my life. You shouldn't either. Just saying. Now it's worth noting, some of these are referred to as Pachi slot and I've got no clue what the difference is, but from what I've seen, all these games play like a slot machine. Now I've seen a lot of cutscenes from these and they look fire, bro. Now none of these games are canon, but Devil May Cry 4 Nero with a human arm is actually pretty interesting. I believe that the lore they went with was that Nero had a human arm before he got his demon arm, which is cool, but not canon. I'm pretty sure that some of these, such as the DMC3 one, might just be a retelling of the console game, but just on a gambling machine. While The Last Judgment uses DMC4 as a base, but does its own thing. At least I think that's what they would do. If not, then 4 of these games are just DMC4, but with slots and cool scenes. There is a few cool things related to the story that's jotted down on the wiki page. A lot mainly just stuff changed around from DMC4, but I will leave a link to the wiki if you want to check it out for yourselves. Some of these machines also had different editions, different versions or something, but from what I understand they just increased the chance of getting a jackpot, which I guess is a good deal. I don't know why you get jackpots more often. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, now that I've talked about gambling machines for the last 2 minutes, I think we can move on. Dance of Sparta. Where do we start with you? This was gonna be a Devil May Cry game that was gonna come out on the PSP, and as the name suggests, it would revolve around Sparta. But unfortunately, it has been cancelled. It originally got announced in 2005, but that's really all we heard about this game. After that, nothing. No gameplay, no trailers, nothing. Until eventually it got cancelled in 2009. Now I actually found some pretty interesting articles back from 2005 and 2009. Now I'm not sure how accurate they are, so just keep that in mind. One stating that the game originally was meant to come out in early 2006, and the other article from 2009 stated that Capcom has officially cancelled the game. We knew it was cancelled, but I still find it pretty interesting how, at least I found a report saying that Capcom cancelled it. Now I am wondering what took them so long to state that they cancelled it, considering it was supposedly meant to come out in 2006. Apparently it was stuck in development hell according to this Reddit post, but it's Reddit, so no clue how accurate it is. But it just goes to show how little info there was on this game. Anyway, I guess they could have secretly delayed it, which would have worked considering there was literally not a single piece of footage of this game. But still, I'm surprised they didn't cancel it earlier. And I think it's worth pointing out, because I also find this pretty interesting, is that Capcom seems to have lost interest in the project in 2005. Devil May Cry 3 has already released, and instead of showing anything for Dance of Sparta, they start releasing teasers for Devil May Cry 4, which I think is pretty interesting. A YouTuber called DevilNeverCry, I'm sure a lot of you heard of him, has actually made a whole video talking about this game's history, so I would suggest checking out his video as he explains it a lot better than I do. So I'll leave a link to his channel down below. But yeah, I do really wish that this game did come out though. I'd love to play a DMC game as Sparta. But yeah, no, and it would be really interesting to see where the story would have went to. Maybe we would have seen him fight Mundus, maybe how he met Eva. It would all be really interesting to see. And Sparta's gameplay too. I mean, I'd assume they made him fundamentally similar to Dante, but still would be really fun. But well, that ship has long sailed away.
As I stare into the eyes of the coming apocalypse.
This was technically not an official project by Capcom, but it's still interesting. So there was a prototype for a Devil May Cry Wii game made by Redfly Studios, who I believe did the Wii ports for the Star Wars Force Unleashed games. From what I understand, Capcom was not on board with the idea of a Wii Devil May Cry game, as they said that it would not work. So Redfly said, hold my beer, we're doing it. So they gave it a shot and cooked up a bit of a proof of concept for it. And there is footage for it. It looks a little rough around the edges, but this thing was cobbled up in a few weeks. So and you can see in the footage you're watching right now, you can see Dante doing some basic stuff, some air combos, stingers, which is nice, but I do think I kind of side with Capcom. I want as much DMC as possible, but I doubt a Wii game would work well at all. I mean, For one, you would look absolutely ridiculous if you attempt to perform something like friggin' Dance Macabre using the Wii remote. Oh my god, that would be so funny though. So I do get where Capcom was coming from, not showing interest in the project much. Now, just like Dance of Sparta, there isn't a ton of other info about this because this is really just a prototype, never picked up by Capcom anyway. So there was never going to be more information revealed in the gameplay anyway. Like, this was a really cool proof of concept still, but you could really only imagine how a Wii DMC game would look. But like, I think I am good with that, because once again, performing something like Dance Macabre would look really ridiculous and probably break their Wii remote. And there we have it, that's about it for this video. This was the world of lost and forgotten Devil May Cry games. I hope you all enjoyed this video, maybe even learned something new. If you did, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Adios.